Igniting, inspiring, and evoking the fire within.
Everything takes time to be good at. Besides being a musician or practicing the piano or guitar, takes time to know what you're doing, meet people.
You're listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Beyer.
Hello and welcome to episode 71 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Today, catching up with a repeat guest. She's a singer, songwriter, piano teacher, and motivational speaker. Episode 65, former guest, Kimberly Ward. Kimberly, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Busy day. I'm here.
It's busy and down in North Carolina from where I am. I can see the rain hitting the windows behind you, but you are safe in the friendly confines of the What's Your Inspiration podcast.
Yeah, safe is good.
Yes. So, going back,
Okay.
we last spoke in November of 2021. So,
Okay.
you being in the music business, right? What do you know now about the music business that you did not know back in November of 2021?
Well, I'm still going to say how much work it is. So it's a lot of motivation, self-motivation. I mean, I'm going to say, like anybody else would say, no one can really motivate you as much as yourself. And I think you get kind of as much time as you put into what you're doing.
Sure.
And so there's a lot of people I know that I don't announce like on media, and believe me, and not just musicians, but it seems like people kind of want your context. Well, sometimes I don't mind, that's fine. And sometimes if I notice, hey, they do know who I know, wow. And I don't mean just like a photographer, it could be anybody, but let me put it like this. I probably have been to Nashville about 13 times, maybe 14 in 5 years. And most of those trips I drove there. I didn't just get on the airplane either. And we're talking about a 9 to 11 hour trip one way. So
Sure.
when you spend that much time getting there, doing what you have to do and going back, you know how much time you've invested in what you're doing. So,
Yeah, you know how much you want to do it. If you're going to take a 9 to 11 hour trip 13 times in, say, the past 6-7 years, you know you're fully invested, and it's something that you really want to do, right? You're able to look past all that and see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, so you can be creative.
exactly.
and
I'm
make
still
stuff.
wanting to do what's fun to me, or otherwise I probably would definitely be working an office job, but I do office work anyway I know really.
Right.
Um,
So share some wins. So
Okay.
some wins, some within the music business, within this wide
Well,
realm of
Bruce,
music since November of 2021. Some victories.
well, I find it really great when I actually get contacted. And it's nice when you have people who say, hey, my friend's an A&R or my friend's a producer or whatever. But it's really exciting when you get an email out of the blue, like I've gotten at least 2 in the past week or so, and a couple this summer from people I have no clue who they are. And one of them, I won't say their name, but they contacted me about my song Letting Go. And I mean, they specifically mentioned my song Letting Go is my gospel song. And I was really happy. I was like, wow, I don't know who they are. Obviously, you want to make sure it's not scam and all that. I have to say that because Instagram has put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. I won't get an Instagram. I'd rather talk about my song. I've been through a lot of stuff with Instagram about 4 years ago. But whoever contacted me, they seem to know something about me. Maybe they found my website. I don't mind. I like to actually share my website on here for the end.
We can definitely put it in the
And
show notes.
because the website's
Sure.
okay, because that's been out about a year and a half. I've got a really good program designer, I guess you'd say web designer. And that was, oh, by the way, that was one of my challenges for the first 2 or 3 years. I met people and they did kind of put one together. I personally didn't want to spend hours working on that. I'd rather be singing, playing the piano, or performing. I mean, just the admin work, I like someone else to handle if possible.
Yeah,
But
because
yeah, when
you're
someone
an artist at
contacts
heart,
you,
for sure.
and like last night, I was speaking with someone I know in Nashville that I met personally at a songwriter forum, and the year we last talked, 2021, and I won't say where, it's going to be a surprise, but I know for a fact because of where I met the person, they are heavily involved with TSAI. You might know what that is in Tennessee, a songwriter music group.
Yes.
And yes, I'm about to join some more. There's at least 3. I mean, everything does take time. I'm trying to kind of get through this without being a long story. Everything takes time to be good at. Besides being a musician or practicing the piano or guitar, takes time to know what you're doing, meet people.
It does. You have to make it. You have to make an investment, right? You got to be in it
That's right. And,
for the long
invest in
haul.
yourself.
Hmm. They
I
call
say
Nashville
invest in yourself.
a 10-year town, right? And I think
I have heard that before.
that's probably generous, right? Um, in a lot of ways. But
But
you've got your hooks in, and then when we will be pleasantly surprised in the near future with all of your successes. Question for you now is, do you have a fail forward moment? Maybe something that's happened to you personally, professionally in the last couple of years since we last spoke, and you might have thought that it was the worst thing ever happened to you, but it's turned out to be one of the best things that's ever happened to you. So do you have a fail forward moment?
where I thought it was the worst and now it's one of the best.
Yes. Yes. You
Hmm.
look back on it and say, I'm glad that this happened because blank.
Well, that's definitely going to have to be involved with some people who I thought could really help me with music. That's a general term. And this is not a photographer we're talking about, A&R, real people who can get something done. Kind of like failing forward moment type thing.
Sure.
I wanted to say it's happened with now and since 2021 to now, at least 2 or 3 people, and one of them has their own record label. So it's not just somebody, hey, I'm writing a song. To make it real quick summary, I'm gonna make it real quick and be sweet about it, be nice and be fair. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. There we go. That's good. I'm gonna put it real quick. I have never worked with just one producer in 6 years. I mean, I would like to, but in some ways I'm glad I work with a couple. And I'm saying that because, well, when talking about the word fail, some people can fail you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not maybe like they mean to or they have intentions, but no. I mean, and some of that I'm saying is because some music projects got really delayed to the point where I had to walk away. I mean, yes, one of the songs was done, the other one was done, but there's a story behind it right now. So I would say kind of knowing who you're working with and don't put too much, I mean, you know what I mean? You have to have trust and confidence in who you're working with, but you don't want to place like, oh, your emphasis on this person's really going to do it all for me. And then, some things happen. Well, what happened to not be too specific? They had some family things happen. Well, I have too. I've had a lot of family stuff, but they were, I call it MIA. They kind of went out of state for a while and I'm like, hey, I have a project. Actually, I had 2 projects. And there's a lot more stories in this one I could give, but I'm just saying, don't put too much emphasis on one person, one group of people. And people don't always mean to fail you, but sometimes they can or fall behind.
You got to bet on
something.
yourself, right? Bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. That's what you've been doing. All right. So as we get to the bottom half, empty your pockets. Do you have any other advice for the listeners? Be it personal, be it professional, be it spiritual.
Well, I could be on that for a while, but my advice, spiritual. Well, I still say believe in yourself. I believe in God, so He's got me as far as I have with my life, with everything, like college and everything. And live in freedom. I'm gonna say live in freedom and walk in freedom. I'm actually writing songs about freedom. That's about the new one. I can't say too much. But I've got a theme going about freedom now for a couple years, not just this year, but several years. And I believe a lot of people are not walking in freedom. I mean, it sounds good to them, but do they really know what it means?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that can be a spiritual thing as well as, workplace, or do you like your job? I don't feel free at my job. But yeah, I could go on that topic for a couple hours. I have a ministry page called Kimberly Set Free. I'm on there quite a bit during the week. And I'll kind of hit any topic and go with it.
We'll share all this stuff
And go live on
in
there.
the show notes, okay? Any website, anything that pertaining to you, we'll share in the show notes. All right, and
Okay.
to wrap up, gig alert. Do you have gigs coming up? I mean, shout out to any of your upcoming performances.
Well, I do. I don't have an exact date to give, but I have several I'm working on that are in either South Carolina, Tennessee, or North Carolina right now. So being that October is around the corner, I definitely want to get some dates. I really do want to do some Christmas shows. I think, I play the piano. There's a lot of things I love to do at Christmas. Besides sing, I like to play and play piano, of course. I don't have any dates right now. I'm very open if anyone wants to call me. I know some places that are interested in me in Indiana right now. And other states, like there's some churches I could call at any time in South Carolina and go there. So that's kind of what I'm working on the next few weeks, is getting this going for the winter
Very cool.
and the holidays. So,
Very cool. Do you want to share any of your Instagram information? If you have a TikTok, your website for the listeners right now. So I'll give you the floor.
okay, yes. And also at Instagram. So of course the Facebook is the Kimberly Ward. There's a hyphen, my name for music, Kimberly Ward Music. The Instagram
Spell
is,
Kimberly for us.
yeah, let me make sure it's the traditional way, the Kimberly. And then Instagram is like that, Kimberly.Ward.music. I'm trying to think, I haven't been on Instagram much this month. Kimberly.Ward.music. And then the website I'm really excited about has some new pictures on there, some portraits. Let's see, www.kjwardmusic.com.
Very, very cool. Very, very
TikTok,
cool.
I don't have memorized. I'm really not on there a whole lot, but I have some things like the reels that people are posting that, a lot of musicians are doing. Real quick, I've got to tell you something funny, but it's really cute and it's funny. About a month ago, I was walking down the road and just walking, found a cat. You're going to love this story. He was sitting on like a little building, like a water tower. It's hard to describe. You'd have to see it, but it looked like a mini water tower building. And I'm singing a cappella. No joke, the cat was staring at me. I was like, okay, let me do a video. I'm going to sing to this cat. And it was a Christian song, I know. And I thought that having 1,000 views on there within 3 weeks was pretty good. That's more than some of my Facebook lives this year. So that's gone about viral. That's been about 7-8 weeks ago. So I've been telling boyfriend and family, hey, I guess I'm going to sing to cats now. And do
Acapella to
videos.
cats.
Never know.
Acapella to cats. Cool.
And so I need to get the TikTok back up so I can put it on there. But right now it's on other outlets.
Cool and
Excited.
creative. You can't help but massage the creative muse, can you?
And I talked about walking in freedom. So my song Just Want to Be Free is doing pretty well. I'd say pretty well. I don't know all the statistics. One of the promoters, every couple of weeks will try to say, hey, I've seen like maybe like my song Because I Did was on 500 spins. He said it had 500 spins in July. I was like, wow, how did you know that? I don't know this every week or month, I wish, but anyway, Just Want to Be Free is one I wrote back in about 2019, 2020. And got a music video for that one. It's already on my my YouTube. Oh yeah, my YouTube is, as you know, my name, the Kimberly Ward.
And listen to the listeners, we will post all of this in the show notes. Okay, so you can very easily click on those links, buttons, URLs in the show notes. So very, very cool. Kimberly, we're really excited for your future. Thank you for coming back on, and best of luck, okay, as you move on toward the Christmas season.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed being on here.
Yes.
It was great.
It was great. This will wrap up episode 71 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Kimberly and I will talk at you all later. Take good care.
You have been listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Beyer, because impact on each other is the greatest currency you could ever have.